What is up, guys? Teddy Cornwell here. Welcome to the Underdog Talk, the world's most underrated podcast on earth. And there's something about the underdog, but today, screw the underdog, as I always say. We have the starting kicker for the Los Angeles Chargers, and you see that hat on his head. Bolt up, baby. Mr. Dicker, the kicker, Cameron Dicker. What is up, number 15? How you doing today?
I'm great. I'm great.
And I have to say, I just watched the Dicker the Kicker Pro Bowl video, and all I'm going to say is you deserve to get that Pro Bowl, and the NFL snubbed you, sir. The NFL snubbed you. That is insane. I don't even know what to say, Cameron.
Hey, you said it, not me. It's all part of the plan, so we're good. I'm happy with where everything's been going, and I'm bummed that didn't happen, but it is what it is.
It is what it is, and trust the process, love the process, and next year we're manifesting that Pro Bowl for you, sir. And obviously, I want to look at kind of your career. Is it true you were born in Hong Kong?
Yeah, I was, and then lived in Shanghai for 11 years after that.
And did you know this makes you the first player in the NFL from Hong Kong?
Yeah, it's kind of nuts. I'm hoping I can go back and do like a football camp in China and do a couple spots. So I'm trying to figure out how to make that happen at the moment, but that's kind of the goal with everything. I haven't been back since I've moved here, so it'd be fun to go back and like kind of check it all out again.
Alexa, play I'm Coming Home by Diddy Dirty Money. And, I have to ask the $1,000,000 question. What was it like growing up there? And then how did you get interested in football and then obviously kicking?
Hmm. It was awesome. So I went to an international school mainly for the times I could remember. And so was fluent in Chinese. So I was new Mandarin, was like completely fluent in Mandarin. And then so moving around, it was like moving like a local does, able to do everything, all the underground markets, could handle my own. And then at school was like had your Chinese class every day, the same things as most international schools had. But a lot of expats living overseas and just a good time, a lot of fun with a lot of European friends, and grew up playing soccer. Never played football at all, really. So like never watched football, have never been the biggest football fan, like didn't have somebody I watched growing up. And then it's always been soccer. I'm a Liverpool guy through and through. And so it's just funny. It's funny where God takes you, and just like the ability to kick. When I moved to Texas, I used that because I didn't like playing football because I was an O lineman, and that was like awful. And so I was like, I'll kick. Started doing that, and it just kept going.
And it kept going. And I don't think I would want to be an offensive lineman. I mean, that's a lot of work, Cameron. But kicking the ball is fun, it's rewarding, and you put points up on the board. I mean, you can't lose on that. And we've had a few other kickers on the podcast, Roberto Aguayo and Joey Sly, and they kind of have that similar background with starting as a soccer player. And it's interesting that you see a lot of kickers starting out as soccer players have that natural foot, that natural talent to kick the damn ball, and then they're in football, they're a kicker, and it's almost like, as you mentioned earlier, God has a plan, and everything happens for a reason, Cameron, and that's just how it is, and everything does happen for a reason. As you, sir, also went to the University of Texas and joined their football program. What set Texas apart from the other schools you were looking at, Cameron? And did the GOAT Justin Tucker have anything to do with it?
It was nice to be close to home. It wasn't the reason I went there. I actually wanted to leave and move away from home. I wanted to come out on the West Coast, but a lot of the schools didn't need kickers. So what's interesting for kickers is they pretty much have a scholarship every 1 scholarship every 3 to 4 years. So very unlikely that you get a scholarship to the school you want to go to. And so what the schools I was looking at mainly didn't have scholarships available. I didn't understand how big Texas football was when I was getting recruited there and all that. And so they gave me a timeline like, hey, we have like about a week and a half, 2 weeks to commit. If not, we're going to offer the next guy and he'll commit on the spot. And I was like, all right, committed 3 days later. And I was happy. I just didn't talk to any other schools after that and was like, I'm good here. This is doesn't get much better than going to Texas. And so it was just a cool opportunity to be able to go there and stay close to home.
And I mean, when you think of football, you think of Texas, and
Mhm.
obviously you got your answer. It's interesting. This podcast is the message is everything happens for a reason. As now you're a kicker in the West Coast for a
Mhm.
football team in the National Football League. So I
Sure.
mean, you got your wish in the end,
It-
and that's you know that's pretty ironically awesome.
Yeah.
And obviously you have a great career at Texas, stellar career. You go undrafted out of college. Now, we've spoke to some people who go out undrafted, and it motivates them. It pushes them to become better. And then there's some people, the goal's still the same. We're still going to be a starter in the NFL. Now, for you, Cameron, was the goal did this push you, motivate you harder, or was the goal I'm still going to be a kicker in the NFL?
I was bummed not to be drafted and everything. I did really well at the combine. I did really well at my pro day. I was the only guy to go 15 for 15 at the pro day when I was there. Didn't kick off how I wanted, but it was just like I thought I did well enough and thought I'd get a call. But again, like you said, everything kind of happens for a reason. And so had the opportunity to kind of choose between a couple teams and decided to go with the Rams. Liked their special teams coach and the way he did things. And they were looking at me as both a punter and kicker. So I was doing both while I was there. And I was like, hey, cool opportunity for me to go show what I can do. And then, motivating me a little bit, but not, I wouldn't say that's like the big motivation for me. It was just like stay strong in what I'm doing and stuff's going to work out.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And as they say, the underdog is always the hungriest, or something like that. This is the Underdog podcast, and I don't want to toot the underdog's horn, but the underdog is motivated, and obviously it worked out for you. As I have to ask, does November 22nd, 2022 ring a bell for you? I hope.
That was the game. Was that the Eagles game?
Well, that was actually when you were signed up to the active roster of the
That
Chargers.
was the Chargers. Okay, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was a fun day. That was a cool day. That day, I had a lot of behind the scenes action going on. There was a couple teams that I was possibly going to go to, and so it was a lot of praying and figuring out where the best fit was going to be. And so I felt like God had me around the right guys at the Chargers and loved the coaches and everything. And I was like, don't fix what ain't broke. So
I like that. I like that. Don't fix what's not broke. And obviously, you've made history as well. You made history twice, being the first player in the NFL from Hong Kong. You're also the first rookie kicker to win the Special Teams Player of the Week award for two different teams, let alone in two different conferences. How does
yeah.
that sound, big fella?
Yeah, I was thanks. I was trying to figure out. I went back to back weeks of when I was playing and I was like, I wonder if I'm his only two games so far, two different conferences, two different special teams players of the week. I was like, I might be the first guy to do that. So it was funny that was a funny experience and just kind of a cool opportunities. Just had the chance with the teams and everybody gets you in positions and it's your job to execute.
Your job to execute. That's right. What stands out to you about the Chargers organization? Obviously, when you think of winning football, you think of San Diego Chargers, and well, now obviously the Los Angeles Chargers. But such a historic team with so much history. What to you stood out about the Chargers organization, where obviously you wanted to go there and they wanted you? What stands out about the organization?
But obviously the location's hard to beat. It's a great spot to be, but like you got a quarterback like Justin Herbert on the team who's just a monster and guys around him that hopefully when everybody's healthy just can execute and have a great year. I think we have a huge big time coach right now, so it's going to be a huge kind of boost for the team. Everybody's excited to see what we can do, and yeah, it's going to be fun to here.
Back, yeah. Sorry.
All good. Yeah. I just said it's going to be fun to see what we can make happen this year. And yeah, it's just exciting. It's a very cool area to be in. Beautiful stadium. I think the best in the NFL. So it's pretty cool.
And obviously, you have a new coach in the building, Jim Harbaugh. What does this mean to the team and culture going forward?
Yeah, I think he's going to come in and set a great culture. I think you've seen he's a winning coach, and so coming in having a guy that's a proven winning coach, and everybody's going to respect that. And I think it's important who he hires and has around us. So I think for me, I love our special teams coach, and so I believe he's back, and so it's huge to have him around. And I don't know, everybody. I know everybody's really excited for it. It's going to be interesting to see kind of how everything meshes. It's going to be different coming back to the NFL from college, obviously, some different things, and it's just, I don't know. Seems like a great dude, and going to be very fun to see how we all gel and mesh together.
And obviously, I think you guys will gel and mesh pretty well. He's a pretty darn good coach, if not one of the best. And obviously, we saw what he did in the NFL already with the 49ers, and we saw what he just did with Michigan. I mean, and his brother also is just putting up big numbers over there in that city called Baltimore, Maryland. And I think the Chargers and you are going to be stellar this year. Now, being a kicker is going to be one of the most stressful positions. And I'm going to say it, and anyone who disagrees with me, message me, and we'll talk it out there. Because when everything's on that line, and that kick can win the game or lose the game, it comes down to you, obviously, Cameron. Now, I have to ask, how do you mentally prepare for high pressure situations like that game-winning field goal attempt?
For me, I think I've been blessed with having like a natural ability to kind of just move on from it. So having that opportunity where it's like I can trust that God put me here. If I'm gonna make this kick, I'm gonna make this kick. If I'm not, like I've done all the preparation I can for this. So knowing that no matter if I miss it, there's nothing more I would have done differently. Playing the ball that I believe I should play, and then going out there and just executing at the highest level on that. And then, you make them, you miss them, but you never want to ride your highs too high and never want to go with your lows too low. So kind of sitting in that middle balance and just kind of flowing through life and enjoying the ride as we go.
And I think you got to enjoy that ride as you go. And I mean, if you're going to make it, you're going to make it. If you're going to miss it, you're going to miss it. And I mean, I do have to ask this. And this leads right into my next question, Cameron. Obviously, what are some of the biggest challenges you faced as a kicker? And then how have you overcome them?
Yeah, I think confidence is a big one. Being confident, like really trusting yourself as you go out there is huge. And so like when I was bouncing around my first year, I did 4 teams in 1 year in my first year. And so bouncing around like that, I didn't really lose confidence, but you get into a rhythm of things. And so you're just kind of like in that realm of, what's going on here? And having to be comfortable in your operation around you. So that was weird to kind of get involved with that. But for me, like I've definitely been blessed with the mindset that I have and just being able to keep working through things. But that's a big one. And then just consistency. Consistency is the name of the game. Just trying to find your same ball strike, not trying to play an A ball, trying to play a B ball and hope, like knowing that your B ball is going through the uprights, your C ball is going to go through the uprights, and then every once in a while it'll hit your A ball. So that's been fun to kind of work through that and try to find that kind of dynamic and what I need to do, just little tweaks here and there.
I love it. I love it. Now, winding this podcast down, I do have to ask, does December 18th ring a bell to you?
December 18th.
We're going way back to 2022 is what I'll give you a hint at, Cameron.
Who would we have played December 18th?
I'll give you a team. Well, yeah, I'll give you the team. Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. I was about to say that. I think we were in our royal blues. Yep.
Oh, and he remembers the jerseys.
Yeah.
And I'll just say it for everyone listening. This is when, it came down to the line. You kicked the game-winning field goal against the Tennessee Titans, not only moving you guys into a wild card position, but that was a pretty big damn kick. And I'm sure, obviously, there was pressure, as there always is in any kick, but you handled it, you made it. And I do have to add one more statistic. You appeared in 11 games as a rookie and converted all 24 extra points, and were 21 out of 22 on field goal attempts. To me, that's Pro Bowl nod. So I'll have a talk with the NFL on your behalf, sir, and see if we can get you in that Pro Bowl conversation because that is a pretty big, that's a pretty good statistic. Now, my final two questions are underdog talk staples. First, what is your biggest tip for someone who's looking to make it to the NFL after all you've seen, you've learned? Yeah.
I think mentally, there's a lot of great kickers. There's a lot of people more talented than me, but I think the mental side of it is just like for me, a big cue of mine is like remembering pressure is a privilege. And so being in that spot where it's like, hey, I want to be in these positions. Like, this is what I want to do. This is the position I'm in. I'm choosing to be here. Like, this is a really cool thing when I get to go out on the field and the game's coming down to that. And so having young kickers, I work with kickers in the off season. So kind of working through like the mindset of that kind of stuff and being able to deal with distractions because it's your high school games, whatever. If you're kicking alone, it's like, yeah, there's maybe another set of eyes on you. But when you have 100,000 people yelling, it's a little different. And so it's trying to build in things, distract, and then compete. I think competition's huge. You got to be wanting to compete. And so for kicking, I always like to do my lessons with like multiple kids so that at some point we have a little bit of competition in there because, again, if you aren't stacking yourself up against other people and you aren't competing with people, you aren't pushing yourself. And so, yeah, I just think big time competing is the way to go. Just like find guys to grind it out with.
And pressure makes diamonds. And I think my most pressured moment is Madden when I'm kicking and I'm going to be playing against the Chargers as Cameron, and I'm on a 55-yarder, and it's 3 seconds left. Oh man, I can feel the pressure, and I can only imagine how amplified it is for you actually playing the game and not just me in Madden. And I get stressed out just playing Madden, kicking the damn field goal. So I mean, you sir are very good at handling stress, and that is really impressive. And just like you said, pressure makes diamonds. Now, my final question is, what is your underdog moment? What is that moment where you felt like everything was stacked against you, where you were the underdog, but you rose, you shone, and you conquered?
Um, it's a great question. I feel like after I was cut from the Ravens and was home for like 3 or 4 weeks, it was weird. I was just like going down to Texas, helping out with their specialists and like just kicking and having a good time. And I think getting that shot again with the Eagles and having the chance, the first field goal, I think was a 42-yarder or 43 or 40, I don't know, 40 something, low 40s. And that was a really cool kick for me just because it was like, this is the first one rolling and it's not like a gimme. And then the game winner was nice. It was like a 26-yard kick. That was a nice short one. But I feel like that moment was kind of that way. But like for me, I've never viewed it as being the underdog just because it's like I've always trusted in myself and trusting in the opportunities that are going to be available. And like, I know that when I was working hard, stuff's going to happen. And so having that mindset of like, hey, I deserve to be here. I deserve to be around. Let's roll. And so, yeah, that's that opportunity for me.
Yeah, and I mean that just motivates you to become better, as you mentioned. Now, final question. I said final question before, but who is the greatest kicker of all time besides you, Cameron? Because you eventually will be in that conversation. But is it your fellow Texas alumni, Justin Tucker?
It is. I'd say so. It's very impressive to see what he's able to do and what he's done. And cool. He grew up in Austin as well, and so he went to our rival high school. So it's funny that we both played at the same college and like played against him in the NFL now. So it's a cool thing to be able to do. And yeah, I think he's definitely going to go down as the best.
Oh yeah. Now, before we go, the floor is yours. Are you working on anything? Any books? Any TV shows? I don't know. Where can we find your social media? Any charities? The floor is yours, big fella.
Yeah, I just think it's important to just highlight like the aspect of having God in your life in these moments. And so being able to just sit back and relax and just put in the work because it's like everything you do work heartily is for the Lord. And so making sure you're grinding through everything, like really putting it in, and God's going to take care of you. Like the scripture I read before every game this year was Jeremiah 11-13, I believe. And it was like, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in a future. Then you will call on me and come and pray to me. Seek me and find me, and you will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. And so it was just like a big reminder that as I'm out there, like truly thank God for the opportunities you're in, the goods and the bads. It's all meant for something. And so having that, I feel like being the underdog, like there's a reason you're in those positions. And so digging deep and finding, it helps you find yourself and just kind of find your ground. And so that's a really cool thing. And then for me, I just love being in the community. Doing stuff with youth is awesome. Eventually want to start my own foundation with that, but just kind of waiting to figure that out. Want to go a couple years and do some things until there's some interest to start one. And yeah, hopefully a kicking camp in China at some point. We'll see. I do my kicking camps locally in Austin, possibly in California sometime soon. But the goal is going to be China.
Set in history, and I love it. And God does have a plan, and trust God's plan is what it comes down to. Love God's plan, and I couldn't agree more with that scripture. I love that scripture. Thank you for sharing that, Cameron. Guys, please don't forget to follow Cameron on Instagram. I do believe it is Dicker the Kicker. You can't forget that one. Iconic. And please go check out his Pro Bowl video. Pro Bowl's done, but check out the Pro Bowl video. Like it. Comment Underdog on it. And yeah, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. Until next time, guys, number 15 and the Underdog.